Today we're making chili prawns, a home kitchen friendly, supermarket accessible take on the iconic Singaporean chili crab. We start with the prawns. For better texture and better flavor extraction, we cut just below the eye. And this will also give us the opportunity to inspect the head for potential sand, which you could then remove. Give everything a good trim. We then simply separate the head from the tail. No need for a cleaver, just scissors. We remove the shells. Of course, you check and remove the vein, mainly for texture because the dish is quite flavoursome. Optional, you can keep the tail on for presentation. Perfect. Hot pan, and to make sure the prawns do not stick excessively, we test the water, literally, by adding a few droplets. And you should be able to see the water droplets behave as if they're ice skating. Generous amount of high smoke point neutral oil. Prawns goes in to sear. No more than 30 seconds on each side. We're not trying to cook them through. We simply want some degree of Maillard reaction to make them taste meatier and to build some fond, some slight burn bits if we are lucky, to start building flavors for our sauce. That's it. They come out. We skim off some of the excess fat, if you wish. Thin layer, we start building our sauce. The heads, they go in. And prawn heads, they love fat. That's why, once they go in, we will not skim. The signature orangey red color you associate with prawns, they're fat soluble, as well as their buttery, oceanic flavors. And at this point, you lower your heat slightly. You don't want the uni-like goodness inside the head to burn. Once you can smell the ocean, we start building our aromatic base. First, some grated ginger for some heat, but also some zesty freshness that would balance the richness of the dish. Minced garlic for some savoury depth, some umami, and later on a tiny bit of caramelized sweetness. Minced shallots for subtle sweetness, kind of the holy trinity of Southeast Asian cooking, and some red chilies for the kick. You can mince them, we slice them today just for presentation. And then one of the two original ingredients of the dish, and that's why we want to see them. Now we continue to build our sauce with our wet ingredients. Chili paste, today we're using Sambal. You can use Sriracha, you can use hot sauce, just for some heat and some fermented complexity. Light soy sauce for salinity and a ton of umami. And this is our first time adding salinity to the dish. And we take the opportunity to start deglassing the pan, mopping up all those beautiful flavors. Now, the other original ingredient, tomato ketchup, for some tang, for some sweetness, and for some body. Of course, to overly generalize, tomato ketchup, in essence, is tomato puree with sugar, vinegar, and some spices. So if you want to play with it, feel free to use tomato puree. Cook it out, reduce it, and play with the salt and the vinegar to have more control. Now we taste and adjust the seasoning. Touch of rice vinegar, just to balance the heat and sweetness. Now we deglass with water to make the sauce and to take all the water-soluble flavors with us, especially the sweetness and the umami from the prawns. Lid on, and we let this simmer for about 5 minutes. With prawns, you don't need that long. Now, depending on your personal preference, at this point, you can remove the heads if you wish. And if you don't have access to Shell-On Prawns, use chicken stock, use a seafood stock. Don't let the shopping stop you. We finish our sauce first with our cornstarch slurry. And you make this as thick, as thin as you wish. It is, however, important to cook out the starch slurry though. So we bring in some heat. So it's already slightly coating. I'm happy with that. Now we lower the heat slightly and we drizzle an egg. My favorite part. Once they look somewhat set, we gently push to move them around. Start the show, they go back in to finish cooking. All the flavors, but less of the fuss. And that's Singaporean chili crab inspired chili prawns.